Starting live.
So we're rolling? We're on
rolling.
Facebook Live right now.
Yep.
Hey, this is Josh. I've never done a Facebook Live before. So this is a historic event in my personal history. But I wanted to do it here at Solid Sound. I'm at Solid Sound Studios right now in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Came out here because I heard that the place was going to be closing its doors pretty soon, which made me really sad because I love this place, and the Smoking Popes have recorded a lot of music here. And I wanted to come out and say goodbye to Solid Sound and maybe share that experience with some of you, my Facebook friends, and maybe give you a little glimpse at the place and talk about some of our memories here. And then this is a control room, and eventually I'll move into the live room, and I have a guitar in there and I'll play a song or two. I'm here with Joe, who owns the place.
I'm going to turn the camera around.
Yeah, there he is. And so he was gracious enough to let me pop in here today, even though I don't technically have a session booked. But just kind of let me in to be here. This is the board. This is not actually the board.
It used to be the board.
There used to be a soundboard right here that had a bunch of channels and many knobs. But now it's all modernized with the kind of what sort of programs are you
We're
running?
using Pro Tools.
Just straight up Pro
yeah.
Tools.
Everything's in the box these days.
But some of this outboard stuff is probably the same as it was when we were recording Born to Quit and The Party's Over. And I don't know if this... I mean, this is very dusty.
We don't use it anymore.
And it looks like it goes all the way back to when we were recording like our 7 inches, like the breakup 7-inch, and the original version of like writing a letter, and you can still see Phil's fingerprints on some of that stuff. I guess I'll start with at the beginning. The first time I came to Solid Sound was when I was playing in Apocalypse Hoboken, and they had a session here. We came here to record an album with them that came out only on cassette, which was called Punish the Innocent. And I had never been here or met Phil Bonet, who was the engineer at the time. And during those sessions, I just met Phil and just instantly just sort of loved the guy and developed this connection with him, and knew that when the next time the Popes did something, we wanted to work with Phil. So that sort of began this relationship where we did a couple of EPs with Phil Bonet here in this room, and then we would go off and do a project somewhere else and always come back here because we decided that this place felt like home to us, and I don't know. I don't have any of this scripted out. I just wanted to share kind of this moment with you guys. So here we are in the control room, and over here there was a couch. It was kind of like a cream-colored faux leather couch, or was it real leather? I can't remember.
No, it was definitely not real leather.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And it was here, and so whenever we would come in to listen to a take, or especially during mixing, we would just kind of sprawl out on this couch. I don't know if these particular chairs were here, but we would just sit here and listen on these tremendous, awesome-sounding speakers here that are beautifully mounted into the wall. And from here, from the booth, you look out into the live room. And so that's where all the action would happen in there. Unless I was doing a vocal take, which usually happened in this little booth, which looks now like it is being used for guitar. But this is like where I recorded all of the final vocal tracks for, all those records. So like for Born to Quit and all that. Like when we were recording, we would do it this way. We would start by recording rhythm guitar tracks, bass, and drums all simultaneously, particularly on those early 7 inches. All that stuff was recorded basically live, but I would have a scratch vocal set up in the other room. But there would be so much bleed into that vocal mic that you couldn't really use that. So then I would have to come in this little area here and do my vocals. And I think that was the case with everything on Born to Quit, except for we decided to use the scratch vocal track on the song Gotta Know Right Now. Even though it was a little, there was some bleed in it, and it actually distorts a little bit at times, so it's not the perfectly recorded vocal track. But I remember Phil particularly loved that, and he kind of talked us into, I think we should go with the scratch track on Gotta Know Right Now. It just has a quality to it, a kind of energy that we should keep, and we usually trusted Phil's instincts. He had great instincts on stuff like that. And so you come through this little hallway into the live room, which now has a piano in it, but typically we would set up these kind of these little partitions that did you have any of those?
I have the
around?
partitions, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just put away at the
In the
moment.
back hallway. You just sort of like set up a couple of partitions to get a little bit of separation. I remember mostly, when I was doing guitar stuff, I remember kind of standing in this area, and this piano, I don't know where it was. It was sort of moved out of the way. The drums were over there. But I don't know, so much of the music that we made early in our career and some of the albums that we've made that have been the most meaningful to our fans happened in this room. And so it's pretty special to be back here. And I don't know, I thought it would probably be appropriate to play a couple of songs on this acoustic guitar, which is the same acoustic guitar that I used for a couple of the tracks on Born to Quit. I think we had acoustic on Adina, and we had it also on Mrs. You and Me. But I wrote pretty much the entire album of Born to Quit on this particular acoustic guitar, which was actually a gift from our drummer, Mike Felmley. And I've had it for so long, you can see maybe that there's a ton of cracks all over the surface of the guitar. And it's got this little piece of white paper there, which is, when we were doing Born to Quit, the strings were buzzing, and so Phil wanted to fix that, and he wanted to raise the action of these strings a little bit. So he ripped off a little piece of the cardboard on his pack of Marlboro Lights that he used to smoke, and he put it there, and it worked. It fixed it so that those strings didn't buzz anymore. And so every time over the years, every time I've changed the strings on this guitar, I've always kept that right in that same spot. So that's like a 25-year-old piece of Phil Bonnet's cigarette case. And I can't ever remove it now. Phil has since passed away, and it's just a memento of him that will be there until this guitar is no more. But I plan on keeping it as long as I'm around. And so maybe I'll play something from Born to Quit. Maybe one of the songs. What do you think, Joe? Would you rather hear Need You Around or Rubella?
I got to go with Rubella because when I came here as owner, you guys were mixing it. My first week here as owner, and I probably listened to it about 40 times.
Yeah.
And a 41st time, I think, is apropos
Okay.
for this.
All right, here's Rubella. Now, believe it or not, of all the songs from that era that we've done, and we've played these songs, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of times live, but I always feel like I'm going to forget the words to Rubella because there's a lot of words per capita in this song, and they're not linear. You know, like most songs, there's sort of like a unfolding narrative to the thought that continues throughout the song, but Rubella does not. It's like a random sort of potpourri of words, and I always forget where I'm at, and I'm sort of like white knuckling it through the song. So I just want to say that because I've never said that on stage when we're about to play the song, but I feel like right now I'm gonna forget the words, but maybe not. It's probably muscle memory at this point. I'm inflamed with desire and it's spreading like wildfire. She doesn't know it, but she'll soon be mine. It's just a question of time. Rubella, I'm insanely obsessed and I simply will not rest. She doesn't know it yet, but she's the one. And I won't stop until I'm done. Rubella, the heart that she has stolen has now swollen to twice its natural size. Lost 6 pounds since I laid eyes on her. Rubella, I'm in love with a girl, she's infected my whole world. I haven't told her, but she's inside me. And now I've gone completely. Rubella, she explodes like a fist and she burns from the first kiss. I haven't told her, but she's all mine now. I knew somehow I would catch her. Rubella, 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 oh, Rubella.
Right on.
There you go. I think I got all the words
I
right,
think you
too.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you were very convincing otherwise.
So we recorded Born to Quit while we were with Johann's Face Records, which was independent Chicago label. And then very soon after that album came out, we ended up signing to Capitol Records, and they picked that record up and re-released it. And the Need You Around was obviously the single off that record, which ended up being remixed for radio by a guy in California. And I remember Phil telling me he was really happy to hear that the radio remix didn't really sound noticeably different than the mix that he had done of the song here at Solid Sound. And I had to agree with him. Like his mixing, he was just such a really gifted, brilliant guy, and he would give you, I mean, we were only paying him like peanuts for these sessions. You know, we're saving up our allowance money and buying sessions and to pay Phil, like but he was always, you know, giving you grade A professional sounding work and making you sound like a real band. And so, you know, listening back to some of those first mixes that Phil did of our music, and I remember just being so excited and so moved and grateful to him for making us sound that good. That sort of felt like it was a validation of all the hours that we spent just plugging away in our basement trying to arrange those songs and sounding like crap because we're singing through, your vocals are coming through a guitar amp and you don't know do we actually sound good at all as a band? And then you hear a Phil Bonet mix and you're like, yeah, okay, we should probably keep going then. We'll keep doing it. Anyway, the story is the Born to Quit got picked up by Capitol Records, and then we did an album with Capitol called Destination Failure that we recorded at other studios.
You did the demos here, though, I think.
Did we do?
We did like 3 weeks of demos before
Okay.
you guys went on with the...
Oh, yeah. I guess we did.
Yeah.
So those exist somewhere.
Yeah, I think
Maybe we'll put those in the box set.
There you go.
But the Destination Failure was recorded in part at Chicago Recording Company and in part at Conway Studio out in Los Angeles. But then the next album we did after that, we had ended our relationship with Capitol and we were free to make an album wherever we wanted, again, without the input of a major record label. And so, of course, our decision was to come back to Capitol and do it here with Phil Bonet. And so we came back here and made the album The Party's Over back in this studio. And so I want to play a song. In fact, I'll play the title track from that album that we recorded here, The Party's Over. It goes like this. Party's over. It's time to call it a day. They burst your pretty balloon, taking the moon away. It's time to wind up the masquerade. Just make your mind up. The piper must be played. The party's over. Flicker and dim. You danced and dreamed through the night. It seemed to be right just being with him. Now you must wake up. All dreams must end. Take off your makeup. Party's over. Party's over. Party's over. Candles flicker and dim. You danced and dreamed through the night. It seemed to be right just being with him. Now you must wake up. All dreams must end. Take off your makeup. Party's over. Party's over. My friend, All right. Well, I don't want to stretch this on forever, but maybe I'll close with. I want to play one of the songs from our early 7-inches, and in fact, I want to do after we came back here after my Apocalypse Hoboken session, and we brought the Popes in here to record for the first time. I think the first song that we ever recorded here with Phil Bonet was "Waiting Around," and so I'm going to play that one for you. And it goes like this. Everyone's running. Everyone's running out of smokes. Nobody wants to leave the house. Oh, I'm not waiting around till the sun comes out of the clouds. I will jump into the sky, shine down. Everyone feels like Sammy Davis. Not even old blue eyes can save us. Well, I'm not waiting around till the sun comes out of the clouds. I will jump into the sky, shine down. Everyone tells me not to worry. Everything will work itself out in the end. Oh, I'm not waiting around till the sun comes out of the clouds. I will jump into the sky, shine down. Yeah. Oh, I'm not waiting around till the sun comes out of the clouds. I will jump into the sky, shine down.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and sharing this time with me. Joe, is there any chance of saving Solid Sound? Is there anything that people can do? If every band in the Chicagoland area immediately called up here and booked a session with you, would that save it?
Maybe for a few more months. Yeah,
For a few more months.
possibly. I never say never.
All right. Well, I want to encourage all of you to do that. If you've never recorded here at Solid Sound, call them immediately. And even if they still close their doors, you can get in one last session and just sort of share in the magic of this room and the history of the place, because a lot of great music other than our stuff has been recorded here, in its time. Just some of the most important, influential Chicago indie bands have recorded here, and so I'm happy to have the chance just to come and say goodbye to the place. And so thanks for letting me in
happy to
today,
have you.
Joe.
Hey, no problem. My pleasure, Josh.
All right, take
Always
care,
good.
everybody.
Ciao.